Most people shatter long before life delivers its true tests, not because the world is unbearably cruel, but because their minds are dangerously soft. They surrender the reins to emotion. They allow other people's opinions to sculpt their identity. They let fear make every choice, and when real pressure arrives, they collapse. But Machiavelli understood something the masses never will. The strongest mind isn't the kindest one, it's the most controlled. He believed your mind is your throne, and if you don't rule it, someone else will claim it for themselves. Here's the truth. Becoming mentally untouchable isn't an accident. You don't just wake up one morning immune to what others think. You forge that mindset piece by ruthless peace, through discipline, detachment, and strategy. The world will relentlessly test you. It will deploy rejection, betrayal, and failure like weapons designed to break your spirit. Most people crumble under that assault, but you're not most people. You're here because you're exhausted from letting emotions hijack your reality. You're here because you want absolute control over your reactions, your focus, your peace, like a sovereign who rules their kingdom silently but completely. So before we begin, ask yourself this: do you control your mind, or does the world control it for you? The answer to that question defines your destiny. If you surrender control of your emotions to the world, you'll remain its victim forever. But if you seize control of your mind, you become untouchable. Untouchable by failure, by betrayal, by chaos itself. Every challenge, every insult, every test will only sharpen your edge. Starting now, think like Machiavelli. Detach from emotion. Study human behavior like a scientist. Use discipline as your armor and silence as your blade. Because once you rule your mind, no one can disturb your peace again. Before we explore these 7 ruthless lessons, say this with conviction and drop it in the comments. From today, I choose strength over emotion. How others perceive you determines how they treat you, trust you, and fear you. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. The world isn't governed by truth, it's governed by appearance. People don't analyze your intentions. They react to your presentation. They don't study your mind. They respond to your image. In a society obsessed with perception, whoever controls the narrative controls reality itself. You can be brilliant, skilled, or powerful. But if you allow others to define your story, you surrender your crown before the battle even begins. The most catastrophic mistake? Believing that truth alone will protect you. It won't. Truth is too quiet, too subtle, too easily drowned out by louder voices. Machiavelli said it perfectly. Men judge by the eye rather than by the hand, because everyone can see but few can touch. Translation: the world reacts to what it sees, not what it is. People assess your value before you utter a single word. They measure your strength by your posture, your tone, your composure, your mystery. If you appear uncertain, the world devours you. If you appear controlled, they hesitate before testing you. To become mentally untouchable, you must write your own narrative. Deliberately shape how others interpret your silence, your actions, even your mistakes. Never explain too much. The moment you start defending yourself, you've surrendered your authority. A calm silence roars louder than desperate words. Let them assume. Let them speculate. Let them wonder. The less they know, the more power you possess. In every room, there's an invisible war for dominance, a battle of perception. The loud ones crave attention. The smart ones want control. When you enter a space, you don't need to announce who you are. Let your presence speak first. People sense confidence before they understand it. They feel authority before they hear it. Every gesture, every pause, every calculated look communicates. I am in command. You don't need validation, you need precision. Understand this. When you control perception, you bend reality. A person who appears unbothered is perceived as strong. A person who looks desperate is marked as weak. You can face absolute chaos while projecting perfect calm. And that illusion alone protects you more than 1,000 defensive words. That's the psychology of influence. The mind believes what the eyes repeatedly see. If the world consistently witnesses you composed, confident, strategic, it will treat you accordingly, even when internally you're still mastering that control. Machiavelli believed reputation is the foundation of all power. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Never forget that. Appear strong even when uncertain. Appear unshaken even under pressure. Control your tone, your gaze, your words, your energy. Your silence should thunder louder than everyone else's noise. When people try to label you, don't react. Rewrite the label through action. When they underestimate you, let results speak. When they question you, respond with calm, devastating confidence. Control isn't manipulation, it's direction. Deciding how your energy and image are perceived in a chaotic world. Master this, and you'll stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. You'll no longer live by how others define you. You'll define yourself because the one who owns their story owns their destiny. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my image. Emotion is the easiest weapon the world uses to control you. The moment someone can trigger your anger, sadness, or fear, they own you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He observed that people who react emotionally are predictable, and predictable minds are laughably easy to manipulate. Detachment isn't coldness, it's strength in disguise. It's the power to observe chaos without letting it infiltrate your mind. When you detach, you stop hemorrhaging energy on things unworthy of your focus. You stop reacting to every insult, every disappointment, every shattered expectation. You start responding with control instead of emotion, and in that moment, you become dangerous. Most people pride themselves on being real, mistaking emotional expression for strength. But uncontrolled emotion is vulnerability, wearing the mask of honesty. When you are quick to react, you expose your triggers. You reveal exactly where you can be attacked. People sense it, and even unconsciously, they'll push those buttons to control you. That's how manipulation operates. Not through force, but through emotional access. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." He meant wisdom lies in control, responding only when it serves your purpose. The fool reacts instantly. The wise remains still until it's time to strike. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by feelings. You can feel pain without drowning in it. You can acknowledge betrayal without letting it obliterate your peace. The secret is simple. You are not your emotions. You are the one observing them. Every emotion is a passing storm, loud, wild, temporary. Don't chase the thunder. Stand still and watch it pass. That stillness is power. It's what Machiavelli called the strength of command, the ability to remain centered when everyone else collapses under pressure. People will fear that calmness because they can't read it, and what can't be read can't be controlled. Picture this. Two people face the same insult. One explodes in rage, losing control of his image and his words. The other looks directly at the offender and simply smiles. The second person wins without uttering a word. He didn't react. He redirected. He didn't fight. He observed. That's psychological mastery. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about owning it. You control what leaves your mind. You choose when to respond. You decide when to move and when to wait. That level of control separates rulers from the ruled. Machiavelli advised leaders to appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, but with a mind so flexible that when necessary, you can shift to the opposite. This means you must know how to detach from feelings when they threaten your strategy. If your emotion serves your purpose, deploy it. If it weakens your position, silence it. Emotion must serve you, not enslave you. Detachment also protects your peace. Once you stop reacting to everything, life becomes quieter. You stop wasting energy proving yourself. You stop explaining to people who will never understand. You stop expecting fairness in a world built on power. Emotional distance gives you clarity. You start seeing patterns instead of problems. You stop taking everything personally and start treating it as data. That's when you start winning silently. When you master emotional detachment, you stop being a slave to chaos. No insult, betrayal, or failure can truly touch you. You might bend, but you never break. You move through life with stillness, not fear, because no one can shake a mind that refuses to react. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I feel, but I do not fall. Betrayal, not an exception in life, it's a pattern. The sooner you understand that loyalty is temporary, the faster you'll stop being shocked when people turn against you. Machiavelli warned that loyalty lasts only as long as it serves someone's interest. When that interest ends, so does their devotion. To survive in a world built on self-interest, you must replace emotional trust with strategic awareness. The wise person doesn't depend on promises. They build systems that protect them when those promises shatter. Most people suffer because they expect consistency in a world driven by convenience. They believe loyalty is sacred, but in reality it's conditional. Expecting betrayal doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." He meant that people will shift their loyalty whenever it benefits them, and you must never take that personally. Betrayal isn't always an act of evil. Sometimes it's just human nature revealing itself. When you understand that, you stop reacting with anger and start responding with clarity. You no longer see betrayal as tragedy, you see it as information. It shows you who values advantage over integrity, who pretends out of necessity, and who will abandon you when the winds change. The most strategic minds don't rely on loyalty, they rely on structure. They don't tie their survival to people, they tie it to systems. When you trust emotion, you make yourself dependent. When you trust design, you make yourself independent. Always have a plan that functions even if everyone turns their back. Always position yourself so no single person holds the power to destroy your peace or progress. That's not cold, it's intelligent. Detachment from blind trust doesn't kill connection, it refines it. You start valuing actions over words, patterns over promises. When you expect betrayal, you stop over-investing in illusions. You see through flattery. You notice inconsistencies. You learn to read intentions before they reach your heart. Machiavelli believed foresight is the greatest form of power. A leader who predicts deception before it happens never loses control. He wrote, "The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, but is willing, in great crises, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions, it is not worthwhile to live." This isn't pessimism, it's realism. You learn to care selectively. You learn to protect your energy from unworthy causes and unstable allies. Most people get destroyed not because they're betrayed, but because they refuse to believe it could happen. They live in denial until the knife is already buried in their back. The Machiavellian mindset removes that illusion. It accepts human inconsistency as fact and prepares accordingly. You don't build walls around your heart. You build gates that open only for those who've proven their loyalty through time and adversity. And even then, you never forget that anyone can change. That's not cynicism, it's power. It means you're alert but not bitter, cautious but not cold, aware but never weak. When you expect betrayal, you stop fearing it. You become mentally untouchable because nothing surprises you anymore. Your strategy becomes your shield. Your clarity becomes your armor. You no longer chase loyalty. You command respect through calm and preparation, because the one who anticipates betrayal never kneels to it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I trust strategy, not sympathy. In a chaotic world, calmness is the most intimidating form of strength. Most people equate composure with softness, but Machiavelli saw it as a weapon of psychological warfare. When you appear calm while others panic, you project superiority without speaking a word. The calm mind observes what the restless cannot see. The cold thinker spots patterns hidden behind emotion. When you can appear serene in the middle of disorder, people begin to fear your control. They sense that nothing can shake you, and that mystery becomes dominance. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must learn how not to be good." He didn't mean cruelty. He meant emotional discipline, the ability to detach from kindness when it weakens authority. Being good is easy. Staying calm when everything burns around you is divine. When people expect you to break and you don't, their illusion of power over you collapses. Calmness terrifies the unstable. It makes the impulsive hesitate. They can't comprehend why you don't react, why you don't argue, why you don't crumble. That silence becomes a mirror reflecting their chaos. Your stillness exposes their lack of control. The world respects the one who remains centered under pressure because it's rare. Most minds are slaves to reaction. They speak too quickly, decide too soon, and lose everything to emotion. The cold strategist pauses, studies, and chooses precisely when to move. Patience isn't weakness, it's control over time. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." That balance requires a calm surface and a calculating mind beneath. You must appear tranquil like water, yet sharp like ice below the surface. People should see no trace of your internal process. Never reveal tension, doubt, or fear. Let them wonder if you even feel it. The less they know about your emotional state, the more unpredictable you become. And unpredictability is power. It forces others to play on your terms. To appear calm, you must first train your inner voice. Every irritation, every insult, every unexpected problem must be met with one question. Does reacting help me win? If the answer is no, remain silent. That silence unsettles people more than anger ever could. A calm reaction kills arguments faster than aggression. The cold mind doesn't seek victory through words. It wins through energy. Even when surrounded by hostility, keep your tone slow, your eyes steady, your gestures minimal. Confidence is communicated through stillness, not noise. This lesson isn't about hiding emotion. It's about mastering display. You must control the theater of your presence. What people see should always serve your advantage. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My calmness is my power. Lesson 5. Keep power in silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is control in its purest form. The more you talk, the more you reveal. Every unnecessary word becomes a window into your mind, and once people can read you, they can predict you. Machiavelli understood that power is preserved through mystery. He knew silence isn't a lack of communication, it's a deliberate strategy of dominance. When you speak less, people begin to imagine more. They fill the silence with their own fears, doubts, and assumptions. That uncertainty becomes your advantage. The quiet person is never ignored. They're studied, analyzed, whispered about. The world underestimates those who speak little until they act. And by the time they do, it's already too late to stop them. Words are cheap. Everyone uses them to seek validation. But power doesn't explain itself. When you justify your choices, you give others authority to judge them. When you argue, you admit someone else's opinion matters. Silence destroys that illusion. It sends a clear message. You don't owe anyone understanding. To master silence, you must first overcome the urge to prove yourself. Most people speak to protect their ego. They explain, defend, overstate, all to appear in control. But every explanation leaks insecurity. The Machiavellian mind has no such need. It speaks only with intention, only when the outcome demands it. Silence turns conversations into mirrors, reflecting the truth of others, but never yours. In negotiations, arguments, confrontations, silence bends the battlefield. It makes the impatient reveal too much. Every second you hold your tongue, they expose more of their strategy. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks power. Lesson 6. Master the art of absence. Presence loses value when it becomes constant. The more accessible you are, the less you are respected. Machiavelli understood that scarcity is the essence of influence. Absence isn't withdrawal, it's strategy. It creates distance that breeds curiosity, authority, and longing. When people can't always reach you, they begin to imagine your worth. They replay your words, analyze your silence, Anticipate your return. That anticipation is power. The weak crave constant attention because they fear being forgotten. The strong withdraw deliberately to make their presence heavier. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." The wise individual understands that absence can create both. When you disappear, people either miss you or fear losing your favor. Both emotions give you control. Continuous exposure dulls mystery. When people know everything about you, they stop respecting you. But when you become slightly out of reach, they begin to imagine more than they know. And that imagination strengthens your image far more than visibility ever could. To master absence, you must learn to retreat without explanation. Don't announce your silence. Don't justify your distance. Simply vanish when necessary and return only when your presence serves a purpose. You don't need to be everywhere to be felt. You need to be remembered. Your absence must speak louder than others' presence. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My absence amplifies my power. Lesson 7. Rule your mind, rule everything. Every form of power begins within the mind. If you cannot command your thoughts, no strategy, wealth, or influence will ever last. Machiavelli understood that the greatest victories are won in silence, within the walls of one's own mind. To rule your mind is to master every battlefield, because every external challenge starts as an internal reaction. The strongest person isn't the one who controls others. It's the one who controls themselves when everything tries to shake them. When you own your inner world, nothing external can truly touch you. Most people lose the fight long before it begins. They let anxiety dictate direction and emotion dictate decisions. Their thoughts move like leaves in the wind, driven by circumstance, guided by fear. Control begins with awareness. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Discipline them like soldiers who must obey command. Your mind is both your servant and your master. If you fail to govern it, it will betray you. Every doubt, fear, insecurity will rise and rule over your decisions. But once you learn to detach from impulsive thinking, your mind becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. Mental mastery requires constant training. You must learn to replace fear with logic, emotion with intention, noise with silence. Every time your mind wanders toward weakness, pull it back through self-command. The world cannot influence someone who is internally aligned. When insults, betrayal, or failure arrive, they lose power because your mind refuses to give them meaning. Rule your mind as a sovereign rules a kingdom. Protect it from invasion by ignorance, corruption, doubt. Feed it discipline. Guard it with focus. Let silence be its throne. Once you rule your thoughts, you no longer chase peace. You become it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My mind obeys only me. The path of the untouchable. Being mentally untouchable doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means that nothing, no insult, no betrayal, no failure, can control you. You become the master of your reactions, the owner of your focus, the architect of your peace. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every conflict becomes data. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to reinforce your control. When you apply these lessons, you don't just survive the world, you move through it with authority, clarity, and unstoppable calm. Remember, control begins within. When you rule your mind, no external circumstance can shake your foundation. Detachment protects you. Silence amplifies you. Absence increases your value. Calmness intimidates. Strategy shields you from betrayal. Perception shapes reality around you. Each lesson reinforces the other, creating a fortress of mental strength that cannot be breached. The untouchable mind doesn't react. It dominates through presence, preparation, and patience. If these lessons resonated with you, take action now. Hit the like button to cement your commitment to growth. Share this video with someone who needs to awaken their inner strength. And subscribe to this channel, because mastering the mind is a journey, not a single lesson. Silence, strategy, self-control. That is the path of the untouchable. Step into it, build it, live it. Let the world test you, and watch as nothing can ever shake you again. Remember to leave your affirmations in the comments. Let the words echo in your mind and commit to ruling yourself first. Because the moment you own your mind, you own everything.